Okay, I want to take you to a very specific moment. A moment I think every single person listening has felt. It's 6 a.m. The alarm goes off. You set this thing last night because today is the day. Today you start the new routine. You're going to run or write or meditate, whatever. You were so pumped about it at 10 p.m. But now it's dark, it's cold, and that motivation
Go.
completely
Right.
evaporated.
And then comes the negotiation phase, right? 5 more minutes.
Oh, yeah. I'll start tomorrow.
Monday is actually a much better day for starting new things.
Exactly. And then you hit snooze. And the second you do, that internal voice, it shifts from negotiation to just brutality. You're lazy. You have no willpower. Why can't you just pick to something for once? We immediately diagnose ourselves with some kind of like deep character flaw.
It's the universal cycle. Excitement, resistance, failure, and then self-loathing, and then you repeat it. We just assume the variable that's missing is grit,
Yeah.
If we just wanted it bad enough, we'd get out of bed.
But that's the trap, isn't it? And that's why we're doing this deep dive today. We're looking at this fascinating framework from our source, which basically argues that this entire narrative, this idea that discipline is about being a tougher person, is a complete lie.
It is a lie. And it's a dangerous one because it keeps us stuck. The core thesis we are really unpacking today is that if you are failing at self-discipline, it's not because you are weak, it's because your method is wrong. You're trying to use a hammer to turn a screw.
I love that image.
Yeah.
So today's about putting down the hammer. We're going to dismantle this myth of raw willpower and replace it with a system based on Stoic philosophy and environmental design. We want to move you from what the source calls heroic effort, which sounds cool but rarely works,
Right.
to quiet consistency.
Which frankly is a lot less sexy, but infinitely more effective.
Okay, so before we get to the how-to, let's look at the evidence that willpower isn't really the problem. Because I think a lot of listeners might be skeptical right now. They're thinking, no, I really am just lazy. You don't know me.
Right.
But the source points out this really strange contradiction that I think proves otherwise.
It's the selective discipline paradox.
Yeah.
This is what really cracked the code for me. So think about a person who is an absolute machine at work, never misses a deadline, their spreadsheets are perfectly color-coded, they're reliable, focused, disciplined.
The model employee.
But that same person goes home and their sink is full of dishes, they haven't exercised in 3 years, and they eat takeout every single night. Now, here's the question. Are they a disciplined person or are they a lazy person?
Well, it's confusing.
Yeah.
Because if discipline was a personality trait, like, say, your eye color,
Yeah.
it should be there all the time. You can't have blue eyes at work and then suddenly brown eyes at home.
Precisely. If discipline were a character trait, it would be consistent across every domain of your life. But it almost never is. We all have these areas where we're, like, effortless and other areas where we're just chaos.
I have a friend just like this. Her skincare routine is, it's NASA level precise.
Yeah.
10 steps, every single night, doesn't matter how tired she is.
Wow.
But her finances.
Absolute chaos.
So is she disciplined? See, the answer is, it's the wrong question. She has a strategy that works for skincare.
Right.
Probably because the products are right there, it feels good immediately, it's a ritual. But she has a failing strategy for finances. It's not a character flaw, it's a strategy failure.
Wow. Just that distinction alone takes so much weight off. It stops being I am broken and starts being my system is broken.
And that is exactly where the Stoics come in.
Now, wait a minute. When I think of Stoics, I think of, Marcus Aurelius or Epictetus. I picture these marble statues of guys who just gritted their teeth through everything. Isn't Stoicism the ultimate willpower philosophy?
That is the big misconception. We think Stoicism is about suppressing emotion and just, forcing yourself to do hard things. But if you actually read them, guys like Epictetus or Seneca, they were deeply suspicious of motivation. They didn't trust it.
Because they understood human nature. They knew that we're biological creatures. We get tired, we get hungry, we get emotional. Epictetus has this brilliant line where he essentially says, we don't fail because we don't know what is right.
Right. I know the donut is bad for me. I know I should be saving for retirement. The knowledge isn't the problem.
Exactly. Epictetus says we fail because our habits are stronger than our intentions. He knew that in a head-to-head battle between what you want to do your intention, and what you usually do, your habit, the habit is going to win 99% of the time.
Habits are stronger than intentions. That's actually terrifying.
It is. If you try to fight it with brute force, modern culture tells us to fight.
Oh yeah, crush it,
No days off.
push through the pain.
Right, that's a strategy of force. The Stoic strategy is one of alignment.
Alignment. Okay, unpack that. How is alignment different from just trying harder?
Think of it like swimming in a river. Force is trying to swim upstream against a strong current. You can do it for a minute, maybe 5, but eventually you're going to get exhausted and drown. Alignment is looking at that same river and saying, okay, how do I adjust my sails or change my entry point so the current actually carries me where I want to go?
So instead of fighting the current, you design a boat that uses the current.
Exactly. And the current in our lives is our environment and all our little friction points, which brings us to Marcus Aurelius.
The most powerful man in the world, Emperor of Rome.
And yet, from what I've read in his meditations, he really struggled to get out of bed in the morning.
He hated it.
Hated it. He writes about basically arguing with himself to get up. Do I have to go do the work of a human being? Is this what I was made for? To huddle under the blankets and stay warm?
That is so relatable. The Emperor of Rome is hitting the snooze button.
But here's the key. He didn't just yell at himself. He didn't just say, try harder, Marcus. He focused on removing friction. He designed his life to make his duty easier to do. He understood the physics of behavior.
Physics is a good word for it. Friction. If there's too much friction, an object just won't move.
Right. And the source provides this incredible diagnostic tool. It calls it the broken system test. It helps you see where that friction is coming from, because a lot of the time, we don't even see it.
I really want to spend some time on this, because when I read these questions, I felt personally attacked.
Uh-oh.
There are 3 questions to ask yourself to see if your discipline system is actually just a burnout trap.
Let's go through them.
Okay, question number 1. If focus requires heroic effort, the system is broken.
Let that one land for a second. Heroic effort.
But hold on, isn't work supposed to be hard? If I'm writing a book or coding an app, that requires effort. Are we saying it should be effortless?
It requires effort, yes. But it shouldn't require heroism just to start. If you have to summon the energy of 1,000 suns just to open your laptop, something is wrong. Maybe your workspace is a mess. Maybe your phone is buzzing every 30 seconds. Maybe you're trying to write when your brain is already fried.
So the heroism is all the energy you're wasting just fighting distractions to get to the actual work.
Exactly. You're burning 80% of your fuel just to get to the starting line. A good system clears the path so you can spend that energy on the work itself.
Okay, that makes sense. Here's the second one, and this is the one that I think hits our generation the hardest. If rest requires guilt, the system is broken.
Yeah. This is the hustle culture poison. We have moralized constant activity. If you aren't doing something productive, you're wasting time.
I feel this constantly. If I sit down to read a fiction book or just watch a movie, there's this buzzing in the back of my head.
Yeah.
You should be answering emails. You should be working on your side hustle.
And Seneca would say, that's just a recipe for madness. The Stoics believed in leisure not as doing nothing, but as active recovery. If your system relies on you being on 24/7, it's not a system. It's a suicide pact.
A suicide pact. Wow.
Well, think about an engine. If you run it at the red line constantly, it blows a gasket. You don't blame the engine for being weak, you blame the operator. If you feel guilty for resting, you are running your engine at the red line. You need to schedule rest just as rigidly as you schedule work.
That flips the script entirely.
What?
Rest isn't a failure of discipline. It's a requirement for it.
It's the maintenance that allows the discipline to even continue.
Okay, third question from the test. If discipline only works when you feel inspired, the system is broken.
And this brings us right back to reliability. Motivation is a feeling. And feelings are like the weather. They change, they're unstable.
You can't build a house on a foundation that moves every day.
Right. And the source has this golden rule. A system that works on bad days is a real system. A system that only works on good days is a fantasy.
I think 90% of people are living in that fantasy. We plan our weeks, assuming we'll get 8 hours of sleep, have perfect energy, the kids won't get sick.
And then reality hits, and the whole plan just collapses. A Stoic system assumes things will go wrong. It assumes you will be tired. It assumes you will not be motivated. And it works anyway.
So how do we build that? We've diagnosed the problem. We're relying on heroes and good weather. How do we actually build a system that works in the rain?
It starts with the environment. We need to shift our focus from internal grit to external setup.
Give me a concrete example. Because everyone says change your environment, but what does that actually look like?
Okay, let's take digital friction. This is a huge one for us today. If you're trying to be disciplined about focus, but your phone is on your desk, face up, with notifications on, you are forcing your brain to consciously ignore a sensory cue every 30
It's
seconds.
that little subconscious, check me, check me.
Right. And you are spending willpower points every single time you don't pick it up. Eventually, you just run out. So the external setup solution isn't to try harder to focus, it's to put the phone in another room.
Or delete the app.
Or turn the screen to grayscale so it looks like a boring newspaper instead of a candy store. You increase the friction for the bad behavior. You make it annoying to do the wrong thing.
I did this with my TV remote once. I took the batteries out.
And did it work?
It sounds so stupid, but yes. I'd sit down on the couch, grab the remote, and it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
And in that, 30 seconds it would have taken to find batteries, I realized I don't actually want to watch TV. I'm just bored.
Yeah.
I pick up a book instead.
That is exactly it. That is the pre-commitment strategy the source talks about. You introduce a little pause, a speed bump between the impulse and the action.
The source calls this reducing choice.
Yes. The Stoics believed that in the heat of the moment, our rational mind is weak, our animal mind is strong. So you don't want to give the animal mind a choice.
You make the decision before you're in the heat of the moment.
Correct. You decide at 8 p.m. what you're wearing at 6 a.m. You lay the clothes out. You put the shoes by the door. You decide on Sunday what you're eating for lunch on Wednesday, and you prep it.
Because if I have to decide what to eat for lunch on Wednesday at 12:30 and I'm starving
You're eating the pizza 100% of the time.
because I'm hungry and I'm stressed.
Exactly. You remove the decision point. You have to
Yeah.
treat your future self like a toddler. You don't ask a toddler, hey, would you like to go to bed now? You just start the bedtime routine. You have to parent your own brain.
Parent your own brain. I like
Yeah.
that. It's not about punishment. It's about structure.
It's compassion, really. It's kindness. Setting out your gym clothes isn't a chore. It's a gift to your future self who you know is going to be groggy and looking for any excuse to quit. You're just taking the excuse away ahead of time.
Okay, so we have friction making bad things hard, good things easy. We have pre-commitment deciding when you're calm. But there's a deeper layer here. The source talks about identity and coherence. And this feels a bit more philosophical.
It is. And this is the difference between a hack and a real life change. You can move your shoes to the door, but if you fundamentally believe I am a lazy person, you will eventually stop running.
The source mentions that affirmations, standing in the mirror saying, I am a runner, that they don't work. Why not?
Because your brain isn't stupid, it knows you're lying. If you haven't run in a year and you say, I am a runner, your brain just says, no, you're not. I have the evidence right here.
So how did the Stoics build identity, if not through affirmations?
Through what the source calls coherence. They believe that psychological pain comes from a gap between what you value and what you do.
The gap between value and action.
Right. If you value health, but you smoke every day, you feel that friction, that guilt, that drag on your soul. That's incoherence. The goal is to close that gap, not by saying I am healthy, but by proving it with small, consistent actions.
So you build the identity through the evidence that your system creates.
Exactly. Every time you put on those running shoes, even if you just walk around the block, you are casting a vote for a new identity. You're telling your brain, I am the kind of person who doesn't miss a workout.
And eventually, the brain starts to believe it.
Yes. And this is where the magic happens. Once that identity shifts, once you truly see yourself as a disciplined person or a writer or a financially savvy person, the discipline stops taking so much effort.
Because you're just acting like yourself.
Exactly. It's no longer a struggle. It's just maintenance. You brush your teeth every day, not because you have incredible grit, but because you're a person with teeth who wants to keep them. It's just what you do.
It's just what you do. That sounds so...
It is. And that is the final and maybe the most important takeaway from the source. The Stoic ideal isn't adrenaline. It isn't some montage with rocky music playing.
We want the montage, though. We
What?
want that big breakthrough moment where we cry and suddenly everything changes.
But that's a movie. Real life, real change is quiet, it's repeatable, it's almost boring. The source uses the phrase calm consistency.
Calm consistency.
Think about the most disciplined people you know. Are they constantly posting on social media about how hard they're grinding? Usually not. They're just quietly doing the work, day in, day out, whether they feel like it or not.
It's the difference between a firework and a lighthouse. A firework is exciting, loud, and then it's gone. A lighthouse is boring. It just stands there and shines, but it's
Mhm.
there every single night.
And in a storm, you want the lighthouse. You want a system that is boringly reliable.
So if you're listening to this and you're waiting for lightning to strike, stop waiting.
Stop waiting for motivation. Stop
Yeah.
waiting to feel like it. Start designing.
I want to circle back to the listener who feels stuck right now. They've tried the diets, the apps, the planners, and they've failed. And they just feel like they're broken.
If that is you, I want you to try something. Stop asking, what is wrong with me? And start asking, what is wrong with my setup?
Shift the blame from the person to the environment.
Yes. Look at your life like a scientist looking at a lab experiment. If the rat in the maze isn't finding the cheese, you don't yell at the rat. You redesign the maze.
So here's your challenge for this week. Pick one thing, just one. Don't try to overhaul your whole life.
Please don't. That's another trap.
Pick one area where you are constantly fighting yourself. Maybe it's snacking at night, maybe it's scrolling on your phone in bed, and just ask, how can I increase the friction?
Don't promise to do better. Just move the charger to the kitchen. Put the snacks on a high shelf in a box that's taped shut. Change the physics of your living room.
And if it feels too easy,
Then you're doing it right. It should feel easy. If you are relying on heroism, you're doing it wrong.
that is such a relief to hear. I think we're all tired of trying to be heroes.
The world has enough heroes. What we need are people who can just be consistent.
So let's wrap this up with a thought for the road. We've talked about friction, we've talked about identity, and the boring truth of success.
I'll leave you with this thought. If you stripped away all your goals, all your ambitions, all your good intentions, and you looked only at your daily systems, your environment, and your habits, what kind of person is your setup currently designing you to be?
Ooh, that's good. Not who do I want to be, but who is my apartment currently designing me to be?
Because that's the person you are becoming. Whether you like it or not, you are the product of your system. So design a system that produces the person you actually want to be.
That is a powerful place to leave it. Stop fighting. Start designing. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Go move that phone charger. We'll see you in the next deep dive.
Subscribe to Moments of Clarity. Regain control. Stay aware. See you tomorrow as we grow together through practice.